Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Once Upon a Crescent, a Muslim kids podcast. This podcast is a collection of original children's stories. I am your author and storyteller, Mrs. Hashmi. This is season 3. I hope you have your seatbelts on because I'm planning on taking your imagination on a fun story time ride. This story is a continuation of Isa and Izan's bravery from season 2. So if you haven't heard that story, you should probably listen to that first. Today's story is called Defending Dinoland. As the two brave pterodactyls, Isa and Izan, soared above the treetops of their dinosaur land, they felt determined to remove and pluck out each T-Rex terrain flag out of the ground. These two pterodactyls in our previous story from season 2 were surprisingly successful at driving away Big Rex off their dinosaur land. Meanwhile, Big Rex was having a terrible time dealing with the aftermath of Isa and Izan's plan. Izan's attack on Big Rex's nose hairs and Isa's wet slobber from her spitting caused Big Rex to feel very frustrated and angry.
This itching won't stop. This sneezing won't stop. That dreadful land filled with allergies was the worst dinosaur land to take over. I'll find something better to call mine. Mine. Oh, mine.
Big Rex may have been driven out of Isa and Izan's dinosaur land, but this certainly didn't mean that he had changed in his meanie ways. This beastly bully continued on his path, slowly but surely walking miles upon miles. Big Rex started to slow down. His sneezing and itching left his nose and skin feeling so sore and dry. Big Rex looked out to the vast land of nothingness, searching for his next meal. He climbed over a steep hill to see what lay on the other side.
Almost empty grounds, it seems.
Big Rex stated, ignoring the fact that this land already had a population of herbivore dinosaurs grazing along the long grassland.
This area is missing my amazing flags. I'll expand my terrains from this point on,
he said with a sneeze coming. The ground was rumbling and shaking this time. But it wasn't from Big Rex's sneeze. This rumbling was actually from a herbivore dinosaur that was 100 feet tall. It was a Titanosaurus. This Titanosaurus climbed the same hill that Big Rex was standing on. He approached from the other side. Sure, he was not nearly as tall as Big Rex, who was a 300-foot monstrous meanie, but there was something different about this herbivore dinosaur. Uwais was a Titanosaurus, and he didn't quiver or become startled at the sight of Big Rex. And this was something Big Rex was so used to seeing from other herbivore dinosaurs. In fact, Uwais the Titanosaurus walked right up to Big Rex with his chest puffed out and his long neck stretched out upward. He looked at Big Rex right in the eyes and questioned, "What are you doing here? Wasn't it enough that you took away our land and thwacked us far away with that tail of yours?" Uwais questioned, staring down at Big Rex's tail. Big Rex was surprised at this kind of bold question. Uwais didn't seem to be scared of Big Rex. Now that's something new. Big Rex has always been used to other dinosaurs quivering in fear. He found Uwais's behavior of bravery to be quite interesting.
Don't you know who I am? Look at who you're talking to.
Big Rex roared. Yeah, I'm talking to a thief. A dinosaur who takes what's not his. Uwais coolly replied. Uwais was not backing down. He needed Big Rex to see and hear his confidence. He wanted Big Rex to see and hear his determination. This was Uwais's way of standing up against Big Rex and his bullying ways. Oh, Big Rex shook in frustration. He twirled to whip his tail at Uwais the Titanosaurs. But Uwais dodged the whip and leaped over Big Rex's attacking tail. Uwais the Titanosaurus was not backing down. He walked closer to Big Rex and said, "You are not welcome here, Big Rex. You've caused enough trouble and damage to our dinosaur group." Big Rex bent over his entire 300-foot body to inch closer to Uwais, and he slowly opened his mouth, revealing a row of 100 razor-sharp teeth, and he asked slowly,
"Oh yeah? And if I stay, what are you going to do about it?"
Big Rex was sure that showing Uwais the Titanosaurus his threatening razor-sharp teeth would make Uwais back down, but to his surprise, it really didn't. Uwais the Titanosaurus had the confidence and determination that Big Rex had never come across. Big Rex tried again, and this time he asked even louder.
"I asked, if I don't leave, what are you going to do about it, huh?"
Uwais remained cool and calm and smiled. "We won't let you." Just then, a swarm of hundreds of dinosaurs similar to Uwais the Titanosaurus climbed the peak of the hill to stand face to face with Big Rex. It was one big beastly of a bully against hundreds of different species of dinosaurs. They weren't even half the size of Big Rex. The dinosaurs marched upward on this hill alongside other tribes of dinosaurs who looked and sounded so differently than them. There were pterodactyls in this march flying above. There were groups of stegosauruses. There were triceratops, and there were even raptors. They carried large leaves with messages of protest written on it. Some of the leaf signs read, "Taking what's not yours is stealing." Another sign read, "We do not accept this kind of unjust treatment." There was one raptor holding a large leaf that read, "Not your land." But there was one group of dinosaurs towards the very back that were holding a sign that made Big Rex feel infuriated. It really confused him. It made him want to stomp and shout and thwack his tail all over again. And that sign read, "Where did your empathy go?"
What are these signs and messages? What do you even mean by "where's your empathy"?
Big Rex called out, annoyed. He stomped in anger and twirled his tail towards the group of dinosaurs to knock them down. But these dinosaurs came prepared. They had a strategy in mind already. Uwais the Titanosaurs turned to his group and instructed, "Defend! Defend! Rocks formation, go!" All the dinosaurs, one by one, threw large rocks into the air. They flew in perfect timing and aim to pile up in such a structured way. By the time that the last dinosaur hurled her rock, it neatly landed at the very top of this rock formation pile. Except it did not look like a random pile of rocks. It was a perfectly structured, instant wall of rocks between them and Big Rex's tail. Big Rex was enraged at the sight of their determination to stand up against him. He ran full force into the rock formation, wanting to bash through it with full force. Big Rex twirled and whooshed his tail around rapidly at the remains of the rock formation. He angrily wanted to pound it down to dust. He wagged and whipped his tail furiously. The tail started losing power and energy until it flopped on the ground. Your tail is your weakness now, Big Rex. Suhaila the Titanosaurs stepped forward to show Big Rex just how cool and calm they all were. We can predict when you will be thwacking that tail of yours. As you can see, our predictions are pretty precise. Your oversized body and slow motion thwacking gives us the heads up to do our rock formation, she announced just as she saw that Big Rex was getting ready for another attack. But when the phrase's rock formation was uttered, the dinosaurs knew exactly what to do. They launched their rocks precisely and perfectly again to build yet another strong wall of defense. They were protected between them and Big Rex's tail. Big Rex did not have the energy to fight, but he did manage to very lightly twirl and thwack once without much force at all. If anything, he was starting to feel dizzy from a lack of energy. Suhaila the Titanosaurs looked at Big Rex in pity and asked, "You feel like your body is powering down, huh? It feels scary to be left without a home and a place to go for rest and food, right?" Big Rex nodded and thought to himself,
"How does he even know how I'm feeling?"
Suhaila the Titanosaurus nudged Big Rex's body along and pointed to a large tree in the distance. "We will take you there. You will rest, and then you will leave." She was firm and clear with her message. Big Rex nodded weakly.
"How did you know what I was feeling?"
Big Rex was barely making it through his words in his state of exhaustion. "Because we went through that too, Big Rex. We were also afraid, alone, hungry, and without a home. That was our experience after you thwacked us off our own land." Big Rex reflected on this as he dragged his body to the distant tree that Suhaila the Titanosaurus pointed out earlier. Meanwhile, back at the hill, the other dinosaurs that were gathered there today were getting ready to celebrate this victory against Big Rex. They all stared as he walked across the land towards the big tree, far, far away from them. Nesra, a raptor, pushed herself past the crowded area. She faced everyone that came out and grabbed a loud megaphone and announced, Every one of you who came to protest and stand up against injustice is doing something awesome. You are following the words of the Prophet ﷺ, who said, "Whoever of you sees an evil action, let him change it with his hand. And if he is not able to do so, then with his tongue. And if he is not able to do so, then with his heart. And that is the weakest of faith. You all showed bravery against Big Rex. And inshallah, this will be the last time we ever see that monstrous meanie again." The crowd of dinosaurs cheered and celebrated as they stood up against bullying and stood up against injustice. Dear kid listeners, I have a question for you and would love to hear back from you. Have you ever stood up against injustice? Have you ever been bullied? What are your experiences with someone who had more power than you in a situation? I'd love to read what you have to say. Feel free to email me at info@mrshashmi.com. To all my parents out there, this story can be used as a starting point to begin talking to your children about the injustices around the real world affecting our ummah. Please do keep Palestine and all Muslim struggles against injustice in your dua. And I pray that Allah makes us amongst those that stand up for justice bravely.